am Tammy Beilstein. Welcome to Tammy's Window on Calaveras. I have with me tonight two guests, and I already told them I'm very intimidated because these two are brilliant. And wait till you see who I'm talking about. I have Jalynn Redmond with me, and she is a teacher mentor teacher. And her student is Taben Randall. And Taben has developed, invented, programmed a program?
Yeah.
I know nothing about computers or how any of this works, so I told him to pretend he's talking to a third grader as we go through this show. But it is just so incredible to me that you were able to do this. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Okay. The name, your program is a Japanese language learning game.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's something called Scratch Block? What is that?
It's Scratch block programming, and basically that means that, and do you know how when you picture programming, you picture like you're writing the code out with your fingers and you're typing it on a computer and you're clicking the return a lot because there are multiple layers.
Okay.
Instead, it's blocks, and each block has code behind it.
You're putting the information into a block?
Well, it's already put into a block, so when you connect the blocks together, it's going to make a program.
Oh, okay. That's why it's called block then. You are connecting the
It's
blocks
like
that
Legos.
you want. Okay. And where does the Scratch come from? Do we know?
MIT developed it, and it's an open source program, and it's introducing students to the whole concept of critical thinking and coding or programming. And so, as he was saying, if you think about pieces of a puzzle, for example, just a jigsaw puzzle, and all of these pieces, someone has written code behind each piece, and that piece then tells the computer to make an action, like turn 180 degrees of a given figure. And so MIT developed all of this, and so students, when they're interested in programming, like Taben is, they learn how to manipulate the blocks on the screen. It's drag and drop. And then they make things like sprites, which are little figurines, do stuff. And eventually, they have figured out the code, the actual letters that are behind the blocks, and then they can move to the next level, which is writing their own individual letters to tell things to do things.
Oh my gosh. How did you even become interested in this?
In Japanese or programming?
In either. You are such an interesting person.
Well, Japanese, when I first came to Mountain Oaks, which is a charter school for homeschoolers, they offered multiple workshops, and one of the ones I wanted to take was Japanese, but I was not old enough at the time.
Yeah.
So I went for a few years, and when I was old enough, I started taking it, and I learned about Japanese words and sentence structure.
Oh my goodness. Have you ever been there to?
No. No.
Okay. So why were you interested in Japanese? How did that come to be? I have never even thought of anything like that.
Well, a lot of my friends were interested in it, so I became kind of interested in why it was so popular at my school.
Okay. Oh, do you watch those cartoons? Anime, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also read the comic book version, which is called manga.
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 That is so interesting. Okay, and then how did you become interested in programming?
I think I first, computers have always been around at my house because my dad's into computers and all that.
Okay.
And I remember that we had one of those really ugly Macintoshes that were about the big purple ones that weighed a ton. And I remember playing this game called Manhole. And it was developed by these two programmers for their child, and basically it was kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure book where you could kind of decide where to go and all that, and that's probably my earliest memory involving computers.
And when you saw that, you wondered what happened behind the scenes to even make that game workable or make it possible?
Actually, I wondered that later when I got my first Nintendo Wii.
Okay.
And I played several games on it, and I kind of wanted to look at it, but it looked complicated, so I didn't really look into it until later.
Oh, that is so interesting. It's because, most people, I think, well, no matter what I do, I just assume everybody, most people are like me. But I have no clue how this works. And anything, my phone, the computer, anything at all, it just seems like magic. It just happens. I don't even put a thought into how did it get there? How is this possible? And when you really stop to think about it, I mean, it's just crazy the things that these little machines can do. It's mind-blowing, but it's awesome. So, okay, I had some things I wanted to ask you. So you are mentor-mentor.
At Mountain Oaks, the
Yeah.
family, the parents, are considered to be the principal instructors.
Okay.
And Taben's mother and father are both teachers. They both have teaching credentials, and they've chosen to homeschool him. But homeschooling at Mountain Oaks includes taking classes, which we call workshops. But our workshops are voluntary. And they're generally areas of interest or areas of enrichment or perhaps
Okay.
academic areas like algebra. And the families and the students work with a mentor teacher, and the mentor teacher's job is to develop an individualized learning plan for each student. So we follow the standards, we follow what the state wants, but we also see what the child or the student is interested in, and we help work with the family to develop those interests. So Taben, for example, is phenomenal with computers. He loves Japan, so we'll develop lots of fun projects on the areas that he's phenomenally interested in addition to his regular studies.
Boy, were you absolutely thrilled when you met this guy?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
totally.
I bet. I bet. So tell me, I'm trying to imagine how your game works. Is it the sort of thing where, so is the game itself is not in blocks, so it's not as if there's a word in a block and a word in a block.
No.
What does your game look like?
Well, first there's a part where you have to click space to kind of launch it.
Okay.
And then there's a menu screen, and there are some options, and there's the play the game feature, but that's mainly used for if you want to test out what you know from the learn section, which is the other option. And the learn section has three other options, kind of subfolders in a way, of choices where, and then it will give, if you click on one of them, it will start telling you about something. So if you clicked on the sentence structure one, it would tell you about sentence structure, and you could scroll through the instructions.
Oh my gosh, that is so. Now, is this something that is only on your? This may be a silly question. Is it only on your computer? Like if someone wants to play it, they go to your school and use it on your computer, or is it something that anybody in their home?
Anybody who has access to the internet and
Okay.
Wi-Fi can look at it.
Okay.
At
It has a link.
scratch.edu.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you can do it on a PC or on your phone even if someone wants to. Wow, that's awesome.
And the way it came about is Taben is a member of our school's Mouse Squad, and we started the program this last school year. In fact, I first found it at a Q conference in Palm Springs. That's the Computer Users in Education. And I really thought it was a phenomenal program. It's international. There's about 5,700 students involved with it who are active. They come from China, they come from Singapore, they're from Ecuador and across the United States. And so in the class, in the workshop that he's in Mouse Squad, they're part of a team. They learn how to run help desks, they learn hardware, they learn software, and they learn a lot of programming or coding. It's kind of, those words are used interchangeably nowadays. Well, Taben not only took to it like a duck to water and always test drives my great ideas, right? I depend on him to see if it will work, and we follow the curriculum that Mouse develops out of New York and California, but they also at the end of every year have what they call a DIY project, and it's a competition. Any Mouse Squad member can enter the competition, and it's called Do It Yourself, and that's where they're demonstrating everything that they've learned that year. And so the assignment at the end of the school year was to see if you wanted to do a project for the DIY, but you didn't have to enter the competition. And not only did he do the project and enter the competition, he won grand prize.
Grand prize. Oh my gosh.
So, and that was pretty phenomenal.
Were you surprised? Were you
Yeah.
kind of thinking this is going to be it? This is going to happen?
I didn't realize it would happen until it happened, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. And you've only done the program for a year?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's incredible.
We have about 20 kids that have been active in it. We divided it into 2 workshops, so there were 2 teams. There were the Mountain Oaks Techies and there were the Mountain Oaks Eagles, and they all participate in the squad activities. We have access to guest speakers, videos, a lot of different types of tech-oriented projects.
Okay.
And then, not totally related to Mouse, but the Mouse members did a lot of the work. We did a tech innovation day in May, and we opened our gym up to everyone, and the techie kids just basically ran the show. And we had presentations, we had demonstrations, we had games and apps and all sorts of things. Taben, of course, was there doing all of the things that he's interested in for parents and families and other students to see.
That's
So it was
incredible.
a lot of fun.
What a neat program. That's only at your school, right? I've never heard of anything like this
I
happening at the
don't
the
know
other
of
schools in our
anyone
county.
else in Calaveras County that's doing Mouse, and we are very, very tech-oriented at Mountain Oaks. If you're
Okay.
interested, or you have a student interested in technology, that's been my primary focus in the years that I've been there over the last 3 years. And we started with a small competition that I brought back with a free app, and that was called Powtoon, and it's a bunch of little characters to music that we told the story of global warming in a competition. And the kids and the parents liked it so much that my administrator, Ann Coleman, asked me to take it a little bit further. So we went to a tech team. And the tech team, Taben wasn't quite old enough to be on the tech team. We didn't have much to work with at the time, so we went to San Francisco, we took a workshop in clay animation, and we came back and I said, everyone, we're doing clay animation. I don't know a thing about it, but we're going to learn. And we had iPads and we did clay animation. And we won 2 places, or 2 categories, in the California Student Media Festival.
Wow.
And so the tech team went to Hollywood, and that was the 2015. And so everyone was really excited. I thought it was tons of fun. And so we came back this year and we expanded the program even more, and we brought in Mouse. And now Taben is leading the charge in Mouse and has
Wow.
done this incredible application. It's programmed a game, basically.
Oh my goodness.
You know, so
How are you going to beat that?
I don't know.
Boy.
I got the email to be informed that he had won, and you know, I read it 3 times before it connected,
Yeah.
and then I'm in my living room screaming, and my husband is going, "What is happening? What is happening?" And I'm
Oh.
going, "Taben won!"
That is so neat.
Yeah.
God, I'm so proud of you. And this is just, it really is, it's one of those things, to you it all makes sense. And it's probably half of it is just a no-brainer. You just get it. And to people like me, my brain does not work that way. It cannot work that way. I could sit there in your classroom for months and not know how to even begin to do all of this. It's just it's so impressive to me. I just love it. You're not afraid to get right in there and try to do anything on the computer, right?
I don't think so.
No? I do. I need to get your number. 'Cause I absolutely am like that. I do something wrong on it, a little box comes up. I'm like, oh my God, turn everything off. You know?
Well, he's been involved in a lot of things. We did a 1 semester a class called Hardware Hackers, and all the kids tore apart old computers, and then they diagrammed all of the internal workings, and they labeled them, and they knew how each component worked, and then they reassembled them. And he did it perfectly. I mean, his was just like surgical neatness. And then we brought in what's called Cano kits that come out of England, where you build your own computer, very small, with what's called a Raspberry Pi. You'll have to explain Raspberry
I
Pi.
will.
Okay, so go for it. What's a Raspberry Pi?
It is a microcomputer, so it'd be about this size if you did this.
Yeah.
And it's based out of England, along with the Kano kits. And basically, it runs a operating system called Linux, which is also open source, and a computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can get a case and everything. It's really neat.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. So basically, you can take a television if you're so inclined,
Yeah.
and if you wanted to, say, have a television screen where you could play a computer game,
Yeah.
and the actual operating system that's making that game happen is that big.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm thinking about the kids that come to Mountain Oak School who maybe are not anywhere near Taben's level. Are there beginning classes for them? Okay, to learn to become
Right.
Taben.
We have a lot of kids that are really interested in tech, and this coming year the plan is to offer a workshop of like introductory tech, which would be for grades 2, 3, 4, right in there, hopefully with
2, 3, 4?
right, hopefully with iPads and Chromebooks. And we have about 250 Chromebooks, which we issue. They check them out like a library book.
Okay.
And then we run, for example, last year we developed a little bit more, and for our 5th graders and our 6th graders, 7th grader, they had clay animation. They had what was called solar cars and more. We built solar cars and we raced them on the asphalt.
How fun.
And
Very cool.
I have to confess, my husband and I built ours over 2 days and mine never ran. So that's the way it was going. And basically, we developed the hardware hackers where we tore apart computers before we built our own computers. And we're bringing in, we do media video, particularly with iPads. We have classes where it's actually an educational version of Minecraft. So we teach things like social studies and English language arts through Minecraft.
That's neat.
This coming year, we're going to do I think we have something like 19 classes, but the workshop, one of the workshops is Legos the
Just
movie.
tech classes?
Just tech.
Wow. Okay.
Right. We have 3 instructors working on it right now. For high school, we're doing the Microsoft Imagine Academy, where students can be certified job ready for office skills, for other tech skills. It'll be a 3 to 4 year program. We're offering Legos the movie, where all the way from 5th through about 8th or 9th grade, they will be not only doing English language arts, but they're going to build sets for the books in Legos. And then they're going to film in iStop motion the actual set and the movements. Then they're going to drop that into a software program, create their own book, and ultimately film it with iPads to make their own movie.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a lot of fun. And you
You mean that stuff doesn't just magically happen? There's so much to it.
And that's quite a bit of what we're doing. We're also offering Adobe Suite, which is going to be another career path. So one of the orientations of Mountain Oaks is for kids like Taben, who see themselves perhaps going into some field in technology, or who perhaps just need tech skills for general jobs, that when they graduate from Mountain Oaks, they will be ready to go.
Right.
And they can handle an iPad, they can handle film, they can handle public relations, they can type, they can basically do a Word doc, they can do a PowerPoint, they can run an Excel spreadsheet, and they pick it up so incredibly quickly. We know that language develops in kids. For example, if you take a 3rd grader, 4th grader, and they'll probably not have any accent if they learn a foreign language at that age. Well, tech is the same way. Those of us who come to it later have a little bit less of a natural aptitude, perhaps, or take it a little slower.
Yeah.
But they just pick it up like it's phenomenal.
It's almost like a sixth sense that you guys have.
Because he can look at something and just tell me how it's going to run.
Yeah.
So. And if he talks to you about some of the coding that he can do, he's made multiple games through the MIT program Scratch.
Really?
So, you want to talk about the one that you did for the handicap orientation?
I made a game, and it's sort of a parody of a popular game called Happy Wheels. And I called it Happy Wheelchairs. And basically, you have to get a wheelchair across a parking lot and not get hit by a car.
That's neat.
And the reason he did it was to bring awareness to people who have, disabilities and some of the obstacles that they have to overcome.
Right.
And so that was more or less a philosophical statement of awareness, I might say.
That is so neat. I haven't seen a whole lot of games. My kids, they'll play them. I don't know if I ever have. But I know just from seeing the piles of games that they have, I've never seen one that has people with any sort of disability or handicap in the game.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
So it's basically using programming and block coding to bring social awareness.
Yeah.
And the kids will present their games up on our smart board each other, and so it's a topic of discussion, which is really nice.
So do you guys, when you make a game, it's you are making this game, or is it the team or the class? Do you guys get input from each other?
I had a few people look at my game, and I wanted suggestions, and I had them play it and stuff. So they were kind of my beta testers, I guess.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And what Mouse does is you can open the platform in Mouse to just your school or to Mouse students across the
Okay.
board. And so, for example, his game, when he submitted it to the competition, the other Mouse Squad members from, New York, Chicago, lots of other states, they make comments and suggestions.
Okay.
So they post their comments for the gamer, the person who made the game, to basically read, and if they want to follow the suggestions, you can.
And they do all of that for free. It's just sharing ideas. It's not. I guess I'm just trying to figure out how this is done. It's just
Okay.
people involved in programming, just helping each other, like sharing ideas and tips and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Okay. That's
So
really
a
neat
school
that happens.
pays a small fee to participate in Mouse Squad, and we work with a district coordinator. Ours comes out of the Bay Area. And Mouse of New York develops the framework of the program, and then Mouse of California does, I think, some tweaking, and then we bring it into the schools. Once you're part of the program, then the people who are actively involved in Mouse, the coordinators, the students, whomever, they basically can dialogue with each other
Okay.
through their posts, somewhat like a Facebook account.
Yeah,
Only you have obviously certain limitations of who you're going to
Yeah.
be dialoguing with, and the teacher can make it as tight or as open within reason as the school feels is appropriate.
Well, that's interesting. I'm thinking it's so weird that you do. I just said this to a friend today. My friend Phil Weaver, I called him. He's brilliant. I called him to say, what kind of things should I ask Taben? Because I really do not know. It's like a completely different world that I don't understand. And I said, it's so weird how you don't know what you don't know until you're talking with
Right.
someone, and it's like, really? All that goes on? That it's just incredible to me. So you guys got me thinking of how does all this work? I love the idea of that game you did. Is this something that you can take and sell to a company who might want to make a actual game out of it that is sold in stores that my kids could buy?
Sure, I guess that could happen.
Yeah. Are those people who buy games like that, are they able to see the things that these kids come up with to
The Mouse Squad, I hesitate to say yes, because we do keep it fairly
pretty tight? Yeah.
But there are sites on the web, I think one's called GitHub, where students and others who are interested in programming collaborate together and critique each other. And so it becomes basically, I saw so-and-so who did such and such, word of mouth, and from there they probably could get feedback on how to develop things.
Okay.
And so really the concept of Mouse is what we call positive problem solving through technology. Well, the caveat with that can be a lot of the students are really interested in games and applications and development. We may have the next person who makes the Pokemon.
Right.
You just never know.
Yeah. Is that a dream of yours? What is it that you'd like to do with your talents that you have here, your gifts?
Probably work in Austin, because that's where my family's looking at moving in the future, and that's pretty tech thriving.
Is there a certain sort of job that you want, a dream position that you'd love to have?
I'd like to work at Blizzard Entertainment, which makes some of my favorite video games.
Oh, neat. And you're going into 8th grade?
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if you get some job offers now.
Neither would I.
Yeah, that is really neat. Do you have, so I guess, are there idols in the programming world? Someone that you would love to model yourself after?
Well, Steve Wozniak, probably.
Who is that?
He was co-founder of Apple, and he worked with Steve Jobs, and he would program everything that Steve Jobs wanted to be programmed.
Golly, do you see all of it in your head before you put it in the? I seriously, when you said that you sit at the computer and you just start typing your program, before you said that, I really thought that you probably write it down on paper first to work it all out and then put it in the computer, but you just go straight to the computer and let it all out.
Yeah.
Wow.
To interrupt there, my classes are basically virtual classes. In other words, we do it totally tech. So I'm about 3/4 of the way through the school year. All the kids to come to all of that I teach with Chromebooks. And I happen to say, and by the way, on this one, please have a piece of paper and pencil. And one of my students looked at me and goes, "Jalen, it's your class. We don't have paper and pencil." It's like, oh yes, please remind me. We're tech only, we're online only, we're cloud only. Right. So they really don't. And we found that the more they work on the keyboarding and do the tech, the more their academic skills improve. They improve phenomenally.
Yeah.
Reading, vocabulary development, math skills, critical thinking skills, just applications of this goes to that, therefore this happens, comes along so rapidly through this technology and through things like Mouse Squad.
Boy. Boy. So you must do well in every subject, I imagine, in school.
Not biology, but everything else I do well.
Everything else.
Yeah.
That must be nice. That's incredible. Your parents are both teachers and they both are interested in computers. Do you have siblings?
I have one sibling, and she's older than me. She's 13 years older. So she's pretty with it as it can be in my family. So
That is so neat. What a neat thing for your family to share and do together.
except my mom, she's not into tech stuff.
Oh, she's not?
No.
That's it. So when you made your game, we only have like 2 minutes left. Did you get input from your family, from your parents?
I'll show them my game and say, "What do you think so far?"
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice because they can look at it beyond the coding and look at, like, is it well written? Is the art good? And stuff like that.
I love that. I love that. I tell you what, if my kids were interested in something like this, I would be no help. I think that's so neat that you have that support at home and at school. Oh, your school sounds really... Mountain Oaks, is that in San Andreas?
It's in San Andreas on Pull Station Road. It's a beautiful campus. We have roughly 500 students split between 3 campuses. We also have one in Ione that's in a wonderful building in Ione, and we have one in Sonora. But the main campus is on Pull Station Road in San Andreas.
Okay. And darn, we're almost out of time because now I have all these Mountain Oak questions. You'll have to come back.
I'd love to.
The whole homeschooling program, the whole idea of it sounds like it's something really needed around here. I love
We're
that.
K-12.
K-12.
And we offer a tremendous amount of supports to families who are looking for educational alternatives.
Love it. Love it. Oh, thank you guys so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
And good job, honey.
Thank you.
You blow me away. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Please come back.
I'd love to.
And thank you all for watching. And I'll see you next time on Tammy's Window on Calaveras. This means anybody can use it? Okay.
Well, anybody can distribute it or change it or anything, and they won't get sued or copyrighted or anything. And you can hook it up at home and just make your